Gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight. This is the November 15th meeting of the Town Board, East Fishkill Town Board meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Before we begin the evening, I do have a couple of announcements. First, we'd like to recognize Officer Mullaney, our Town of East Fishkill Officer Mullaney was recognized for work with the Dutchess County DWI program. So I'd like to congratulate Officer Mullaney, and I think he does a fine job. I did also want to mention something that happened the other night. We had a Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. There's a couple articles in the newspapers about it. I think most of us here, if we weren't here present, we were watching it on television. There's a cell tower application for Little Switzerland area. What had happened was, just so the public understands that, because that was the first public hearing for this cell tower to be located in, I believe it's 22 D'Artantra Drive in Little Switzerland, was that we have a 5 members board, zoning Board of Appeals, and one alternate. What had happened was 2 of our members, due to relationships, some spouse or something, working for Verizon or having some kind of relationship in that manner, they had to recuse themselves from all these cell tower public hearings, cell tower deliberations. We have an alternate, and the alternate had actually sent a letter of resignation from that position. I believe the letter of resignation indicated that the alternate would still be in served till the end of the month. One of our members actually had to schedule a trip, so they were not there. And when I'd spoken to the secretary to the Zoning Board of Appeals just the day before, she said it was her understanding that they would have a quorum. They would have the members to be there for the cell tower public hearing. Obviously, we watched, and to our dismay, the alternate was not there, and the regular member was not there either. We did not have a quorum for that public hearing. Obviously, a lot of the people were upset, and I understand that, and we certainly were upset too, because we do want to, see this process commence. We do want to get through this process with this application. So I just wanted to point out it was just something that happens. Certainly, we're taking all steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. And in that regard, I would like to say if there's anybody out there who would like to serve as an alternate to the Zoning Board of Appeals, please email me, the Town Supervisor's Office, send me a letter of interest and a resume, because we do have an opening for an alternate on the Zoning Board of Appeals. So again, we were all rather dismayed, but we will move forward. We will have the next public hearing. I believe it's on December 11th, and I'm sure that we will have a quorum at that. So I just want to point that out. And another thing I did like to say before we get going, there's a couple items on the agenda that we're going to table tonight. We've been talking about some issues we've had with these local roads that have been local developments due to the economy. We've been discovering that a lot of these local roads that are being built, the houses aren't selling quickly as they would have in good times, obviously, and the roads aren't getting completed as they would in good times. We've really never had this problem before. Typically, when a developer comes in to do its subdivision, they come in, they build the houses, sell the houses, 80% of occupancy. They typically turn the finished road over to the town, but we've had a few instances, quite a few, in the last few years due to the economy where this does not seem to be happening. So I've met with our town engineer, Scott Bryant, and I've been discussing the matter, discussing it also with our highway superintendent. And we do have a couple roads on the agenda tonight that we will table till next month because we need to do a little more work to see what it's going to take to bring these roads either up to the specs of town specifications, or what we can do will satisfy us that we'll have enough leverage to get the work done, have the taxpayers as a whole pay for it. And these roads would be number 5 on the agenda, Serenity Way and Derrick Drive, to accept them as town roads, subject to posting maintenance bond, accepting Spring Meadow as town roads, again subject to the posting of a maintenance bond, and authorize claims on the performance bond with respect to the Eagle Ridge subdivision. So these are Obviously, we have people living there. Obviously, you're taxpayers, and we don't want to leave you out, and we need to take whatever steps we can do to make sure these town roads are brought up to spec, but we recognize the need to do that, rather quickly. So Scott, if you'd like to talk about that at all?
Well, I prepared the memo, and there is, of the several roads, Shepherd's Way, I believe, is near enough that we can accept it. There's just missing some documents.
Yep.
So all the physical work is done. So, I think I can recommend with the condition that we accept that road. Spring Meadow, along with Sleepy Hollow, are close. The asphalt is done, completed, and I'm sure the residents are expecting that we're going to accept those roads shortly, but in the case of Spring Meadow, they still have some work to do on the stormwater ponds, and we need final documents. In the case of Sleepy Hollow, they have a little more work to do, street trees, landscaping, and pond work. So I think we'll hold off maybe another month and see if we can get them a little closer, and then we can revisit that. And then we have a couple that are kind of in the problem status. Pondview Estates, we've already made the bond claim on Pondview. We have met with the engineer who assured us that they were going to move forward with the completion of that work. However, to this date, they have not done anything. So that remains a problem. Eagle Ridge is another project that's been there for a while. We've been trying to make some progress in getting them to complete that. I guess maybe we'll table that for another month and see if we can make some headway with that. Two more that came to light. Olana off of Taconic Oaks is another road that's been out there for 5 years. It's 80% built out with no progress to date, so we're going to be looking closer at that one. Stone Ridge is about 2/3 built out, but I believe they're going to make some
They're going to be making some changes to that, as we discussed at the last meeting.
We'd have to kind of stand by and see what happens.
Yeah,
with,
at a meeting
Stone
few months ago, we discussed the changes to that, so.
I might add, Shepherd's Way is a project that's been around since '04.
Wow.
And it was really only when the attorney made the bond claim that things got
moving again.
moving.
Yep.
So.
Speaking of Shepherd's Way, and a couple things I do have to ask you guys, both of you. But Tom, at Shepherd's Way, I believe that we actually, at one point, number one, before the town accepts the road, the developer has a responsibility to maintain the road to certain standards. During a snowstorm, they have to plow it, they have to sand it, what have you. And 2 or 3 years ago, we had problems with Shepherd's Way, and Highway Superintendent Dennis Miller was good enough to send a town truck down there several times, I believe, in two different winters. So I believe we were probably owed $3,000 or $4,000 that the developer never paid us. So can we get that out of the bond amount?
One of the conditions would be that the final paperwork and details be resolved with the tenant engineer.
Okay, and I would like to see, so then we would be, we'd collect that money that we had put out.
It may just be good to just know that people know that when a road is put into development and it's proposed to eventually become a town road, that the developer is required to post a performance bond or a letter of credit. So that guarantees the residents who buy lots that the road will someday be up to town specs. So that all of these roads that the town engineer has mentioned are not yet town roads, but there are bonds or letters of credit in place, so that what happens, as the town engineer mentioned, when the developer fails to be responsive, we can make claims against the bond, as we did in Pondview. And then the bonding company has 3 options. One is to force the owner to fix it. The second is to do the road themselves, which is what the bonding company in Pondview has indicated to us that they will do, finish the work. Or third, they can negotiate with the town a sum of money that they would pay to the town, that the town would contract out and have the work done out of that.
And we did one out in Wikipepe like that, I believe, off of, we took Road Warren Drive.
We did 2 in Wikipepe last year, Bird's Path.
Bird's Path was one, that was like
which
for...
was about $150,000 bond. And there was another one in escapes.
And Donovan we did.
Yeah, and Donovan too. And another question I would have, actually now, typically what happens is they post performance bond to build the road, what have you. When the road's accepted, the performance bond becomes a maintenance bond.
Correct. For 1 year after we accept it, there's a maintenance bond to ensure that everything's not going to collapse or fall apart within the year.
Now, say we were to collect the bond, we were to claim the bond, and we would have a road completed, we don't have a maintenance bond at that point, or if there's a sum of money left over, can we keep that for a maintenance bond?
Correct.
And that would only...
Usually that's figured into the performance bond amount.
Mhm.
And I've been working with the planning board to change the system,
Mhm.
because under state law, the bonds are supposed to be for 2 years.
Right.
At the end of 2 years, the applicant should go back to the planning board, who then
Mhm.
reviews what's left and has a new cost estimate prepared by the town
Right.
engineer. Usually the bonds are set for amounts 2 years hence, so.
Mhm.
to
So
reflect.
they
But
reflect
in the
actual
town,
costs.
Traditionally, that system of going back to the planning board has not been followed. People
Right.
would just come in and renew their bond or their letter of credit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what we're starting as of January 1st is that when a bond is expiring, the developer must come in before the planning board
Yeah.
before it expires. It will be reviewed by the engineering department, make sure the cost estimates are up to date, maybe
Right.
have to be increased, and then the planning board will recommend to this board the new bond amount.
Mhm.
We'll clean up that process, so it
yeah.
won't just be automatically.
Automatically
sanctioned.
renewed, and that's part of, I did mention Councilman D'Alessandro, who's the liaison to the planning board, and I were just discussing that today. We were talking about the roads and these issues.
Can I ask, I know it's happened in the past where a road, the performance bond has expired and the town didn't
Yes.
go after it.
Right.
So what could we do now about,
Well, we fixed that
Mhm.
several years ago.
Yeah.
The town board established a policy that we now have a staff member who keeps a spreadsheet of all the performance bonds and letters of credit. And under that policy, about 60 days before security expires, the engineer and attorney are notified that that expiration date's coming up. And then at that point, we make a decision either to make a demand on the bond or to draw on the letter of credit, or by talking with the developer, get new collateral in place. So I think under that system, actually, I mean, nothing's perfect, but it certainly is far
Yeah.
beyond where we were. I think we have that under control at that moment.
what could we do for roads in the past that they're not completed and we don't have the money to complete them and there's no performance bond
Well,
now?
what we've done is we've accepted the roads in their state. We had one that didn't have a top coat, and then over a period of time, the highway budget will have to bring
Eventually
to
do it.
Bring it up to
state of
specs,
the
yeah.
town road.
So.
I don't think we have a
to-
whole lot of them
I
out
think
there.
only a couple. but-
Yeah, I
Under
think-
state law, you're only right if someone doesn't complete the road is to draw upon the bond. You have no right to sue them to
Mhm.
recoup the money if they posted a bond. So if the bond expires, then
You're
it's
out like,
really an issue.
Got
you're
it.
out like trout, as they say. But I
Got
think
it,
we've
got it.
tightened up on our system quite a bit, and I think we're in pretty good shape. But this issue of rolling it over, again, goes to the planning board, and to recalculate and approve, and then come to us for a renewal. And I think that'll help a lot. so.
Well, some of these ones that started 8 years ago.
They did.
I know the price of blacktop's gone up in 8 years
Yeah.
ago, and if they
Right.
posted an amount 8 years
And
ago, and
also I
today,
know-
it's not even
Yeah.
close.
I also know Scott has discussed with our consultant engineer now in-house that we're also going to be hopefully setting milestones during the process. So if someone gets a 30-lot subdivision approved, that as they're progressing with the building permits, then the infrastructure has to progress to certain
Accordingly,
levels, so
yeah.
that before certain permits will be issued, they're going to have drainage swales in or ponds or things like that. So it's going to be a better way to throttle it so that somebody doesn't build 20 homes, have one lot left, and hasn't done 3/4 of the, the improvements.
Yeah. So I think we're getting a good handle on it. Just unfortunately, due to the economy, we have a few here, and we understand that people are living there. So, Scott, if you'll sit down before the next meeting, I think it's on December 13th, and we'll talk further about where we are with these roads and see where we're going to go, and sit down with Dennis Miller and see what happens. All right, so these will be tabled till the next meeting, and that was number 5, Serenity Way and Derrick Drive, Meadow Lane, and the claim on performance bond for Eagle Ridge. So, all right, with that, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll? And would you give Madam Clerk the microphone? You know what, we had a little money, we could buy a new 3 microphones.
Okay. Councilperson
The
Martin.
controller's shaking his head
Present.
no.
Councilperson Cassidy.
Here.
Councilperson Danke.
Present.
Councilperson D'Alessandro.
Present.
Supervisor Hickman.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Clerk Hooray, do we have any minutes to approve tonight?
No, we're a little off schedule, so next month we'll do 2 sets.
Okay. Okay, very good, very good. Next item on the agenda is public comments on agenda items only. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak or comment on agenda items? Okay, there being none. Clerk Hooray, is there anything under receipt and file?
No, there is not.
Okay, there are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. So the first resolution is to adopt the 2013 budget. We held a public hearing last week, I believe it was, we held the public hearing. And I think, I'm very satisfied with the 2013 budget, and I know the board has worked very diligently to review the budget, make comments and tweaks here and there, and I think we have a solid budget. So, that being said, do I have a motion to authorize the adoption of the 2013 budget?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The 2013 budget is now adopted, and the controller can breathe a sigh of relief. So, it's a very good budget. Thank you, Mark, for all your
Thanks,
work.
Controller.
Number 2 is to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with New York State Department of Transportation, agreeing to maintain an emergency access gate and road for fire access on to Route 84. What had happened, this started quite a few years ago. We have the Townsend Road Whitby substation that is right back to Route 84. And we had a meeting there with Senator Schumer and all kinds of state dignitaries. And we said, the problem is that to travel on 84, to go is such a long way around, and it's so frustrating. If there's an accident, you see the road right behind you. I could throw a rock and hit it. Senator Schumer assured us that they would take action, and it must have been 3 years ago, and the wheels of the federal government grind slowly, and they never did actually do it right there because New York State DOT wouldn't allow access at that point. I believe it's New York State. So they came up with another access point, which is off of Hosner Mountain Road, and I believe it's Brook Drive. And I believe it will shorten up the response time to any incidences on 84 Taconic Parkway from the Whitby substation. So about a month or two ago, I believe that we approved that the town would maintain the gate and the mechanical apparatus and everything that works in. I know we'd spoken with the fire commissioners, and the fire commissioners said they would work with us, and we'll make sure this is all done. And then New York State realized that they didn't have anybody to plow the darn thing. So now they've given us a resolution that somebody would maintain the access strip to, I believe it's onto the parkway to Route 84. So we have a resolution here stating the town will maintain that strip as far as snow plowing and all types of weather-matic issues, I guess you call it. Weather-matic, that's a new word. They do fire-matic. Weather-matic is a new word, so we'll coin that one tonight. So with that, I haven't told the highway superintendent yet.
I think you just did.
Yeah, I know, he's probably watching. So, and this isn't going to be for a couple years down the road, because by the time they get all the work done, DOT gets out there and actually does it. But DOT is asking for them to proceed if we would authorize this resolution that they've submitted to us to maintain the road for snow and any other type of weather-related issues. So, that being said, do I have a motion to execute an agreement with DOT agreeing to maintain emergency access gate and road for fire access to Route 84?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. But all kidding aside, it really is a good thing, because if there is an accident or any type of serious incident, getting there as quickly as possible is really paramount to safety. Number 3 is to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Superior Telephone Systems for a new phone system at the town hall. We've had a system, I believe our system at the town hall is about 30 years old. We've had issues, our company's been with us for a long time, and they really work hard to keep it running, but it is time to replace the system. The police department has already replaced their system, I believe, with this same telephone system. I told the controller if I have a can with string to it and I can hear the other end, I'm fine. But everybody wants to do a new digital system, so, but actually, when we look at it, the cost, it's a very good way to save money. I believe we'll realize a monthly savings once it's installed. And then I believe, Mark, I'd have to ask you, I believe after 5 years, we own the system outright, and then we'll recognize even higher savings, correct?
Right, I mean, we could pay for it up front.
Yeah.
And we would realize a return on that investment in somewhere between 2.5 and almost 5 years, depending on the exact savings. But they're projecting savings on the phone service, the line service, of approximately $1,200 a month.
Right.
So
Of course,
even
that's
if we only
rosy.
see
They're-
yeah, even if we
yeah.
only see half of that,
Yeah.
we'll pay for itself in about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and we'll be very happy with the new phone system. So I believe they're on state bid. We've discussed all that. So, and Clerk Correa and I sat down and we went over all this stuff. And I did say to the guy, I'm fine with a tin can and a string, but they insisted on this
did.
special digital stuff. So, that being said, does anybody have any questions about this new phone system? I know, I can't get excited about over phones either. Sorry, Bill.
Will there be a education period by the company to let people know how to use these things? Because I know I went to something with
Yeah.
Carol a couple of years ago,
Yes.
and it was very complicated,
Very
especially for us.
They said
People
they'll
who are
sit down
challenged
with
by
each
this.
department
Yeah.
and explain the
Okay.
system before they connect them to the new system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I pick it up and it's got a dial tone, I'm really thrilled.
And if you don't have to go like this, you're even more excited. Ma!
Now, they will do that, they would say they will, because they're gonna have to program it for each
Yes,
office in different
yes.
lines and stuff like that, so. And, the other thing too is the cost savings, because, we always try to do the things we do to save money, and this is another step to, saving taxpayers' money, so I think it's a good project.
It says one cordless phone. Where's the cordless phone go?
I think it's in John's office, usually he has a cord.
Yeah, so I'm gonna walk around with the cordless phone,
Of course.
they're gonna call me on the
You want
cordless phone.
a tin can, you're getting a
I
cordless phone.
know. What's that? Oh, no kidding.
You told them to lock them.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't have them unlocked. Anybody here know how to unlock the doors? All right, you're gonna have to excuse me for a minute. Let me unlock. You got the front door? Oh, the chief's a good man. I thought they were unlocked before when I came in, so. Thank you, chief.
I come in there.
Not gonna know.
Yeah.
I come in there.
We all came
They're
in that
open.
way.
The automatics aren't open.
Oh, okay.
Is the highway one going in this, or is this a separate one?
We're gonna do, well, I'd like to do the highway separately.
Yeah, but it's included, he came in and said this is included in the price.
Right, well, no, I think it's
In the
$4,000
31
more.
price,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
26 price is for
Yeah.
the town
Town
hall,
hall, yeah.
an additional, four something,
4700.
$4,700.
Yeah. So I'd like to do it-
We could do that later.
Yeah, that's what I think. If we could, I'd just as soon
Okay.
get the town hall up and running, see how it works, and then if we need a highway, we can do a private. They had a few other bells and whistles we really told them that we didn't need. We just want, the standard system, so
Yeah.
we'll do this.
So we're not doing highway tonight?
Not tonight,
Okay.
no, we'll do that later on, but we did get the quote just in case. So, all right, do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Superior Telephone Systems for a new phone system at the town hall?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Danke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Number 4 is to accept Shepherd's Way as a town road, subject to the posting of a maintenance bond. And we just discussed this. Tom, we will be able to get reimbursement for those,
It's actually posted on a maintenance bond and the paperwork and reimbursement for this.
okay, very good. And Scott, you've worked on this, we're comfortable with the amounts that we're going to be getting and all that?
That's what finalized that.
Okay, all right. Any questions regarding Shepherd's Way and posting of the maintenance bond? All right, do I have a motion to accept Shepherd's Way as a town road, subject to the posting of a maintenance bond?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. And we will be looking at those other roads for the next meeting. All righty, we've tabled Resolution 5, and we've tabled Resolution 6. Number 7 is to accept an agreement with Dutchess County with respect to the Dutchess County Task Force. This is a contract that had come due, and I know we have a very good relationship with Dutchess County and their Dutchess County Drug Task Force. Councilman Danke is liaison to the police department. I know you reviewed the stats and the work that's going on with this, with our task force. I'm very impressed
Yeah.
with the results.
Chief Nichols provided me with some data that I reviewed this afternoon. We joined we joined the force last year at this time, correct? And
Rejoined.
we did.
We used to be longer.
We
Right.
rejoined.
Exactly.
We rejoined. It was created in 1989, I believe, the Drug Task Force. Anyway, the task force, just so people know, is made up of one assistant district attorney is assigned to it, 4 detectives from the Sheriff's Department, 2 Town of Poughkeepsie Police detectives, 2 City of Poughkeepsie Police detectives, 1 City of Beacon Police detective, and 1 East Fishkill detective. This year, to date, there have been over 200 arrests to date by the task force. It also should be noted that when we had the home invasion in the town and back in September, there needed to be surveillance, and the task force did give us a hand in that surveillance effort, which led to the person's arrest who we were looking for. So it's we have an officer, detective there who's very well thought and very active in the task force. So I think it's money well spent.
And really, the money is, it's a manpower issue.
Exactly. yeah.
We're staffing
Right.
them.
We're
with
just
one-
taking one of our detectives and
Yeah.
assigning him to the task
Assigning him
force.
to that.
And we get a lot back when the task force is investigating something in East Fishkill, and there have been a number of major arrests made in the town. Of course, we get all of those resources from
From the other agencies.
the other agencies, which we otherwise could not provide.
Any other questions on this? I think it's a great program, Ethel. Any thoughts on it?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the agreement with the Dutchess County with respect to the Dutchess County Drug Task Force?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 8, we're going to table till the next meeting. So actually, that's it. I do have one resolution from the floor. I would like to ask the town board tonight to authorize me to appoint a new broker of record in regards to health insurance. We've been working on new health insurance project for some months now, and we have some new information and possibly a good program that we could enter into. And with the board's permission, I would like to have the authorization to enter into agreement with a new broker of record, obviously keeping the board advised as to what we're doing and where we are. Is that okay with the board?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Yep, I'm getting there. I know I didn't see it on the agenda. It used to be
No, it's
printed
not
on there,
there.
but it wasn't on this one, so we're going to get that squared away. That's it for the resolutions this evening. We have had budget transfers submitted by the comptroller. I know everybody's discussed the transfers with the comptroller. He said very documented spreadsheets to us about, and really all this is just end of the year inter-fund transfers. So there's not going to change the budget overall. It's just a little from this one to
Not increasing the
offset
budget
that
at
one.
all. It's just a typical year-end cleanup for the most part, as we're realizing actual costs. So moving some money from one line to another.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? I know we've discussed with the comptroller the budget transfers. Anybody have any questions?
No, but his notes are very thorough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, that being said, do I have a motion to accept the budget transfers as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstentions? 1 abstention. 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Okay, the motion is passed. Thank you. And that's it for the agenda. The last on the agenda is public comments on general town issues. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on any general town issues? Okay, there being none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Town board meeting is now closed. One thing before we go, would like to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. I can't believe it's only a week from today till Thanksgiving, but years really flew by, and I think it's been a very good year with a very good board, and I think we've accomplished a lot of good things, so thank you very much.